Okay, hello. This is my fourth review in a row. I'm gonna review this one, Ico. I just started this one. It looks really cool. I'm really excited. But yeah, the beautiful Ico, one of the greatest, most beautiful games ever made. No, I liked it. It's just funny though. It's I like its simplicity. It's not. It's pretty original, I think, in its concept. Although it's just, I guess, sort of a platformer. There's not you just sort of there's a lot of lighting fires and jumping across places. There were parts I didn't know you could do things with. So maybe just a spoiler free first introduction. I think it is really good. I highly recommend it to everyone. Just play Ico. It's really fun. But now getting into the spoilers. There were these bombs. I didn't know they were bombs. I didn't know what you could do in the game, so that was frustrating with problem solving. If it's like I didn't realize you could pick this thing up and then light it and it explodes, and I don't know what can explode and what can't. That was an issue with some parts. I didn't, and then later on, I didn't know you could throw a bomb. Like that wasn't established. I like games where it's established what you can do and what you can't do, and then using that, you have to try and figure out a way to get from point A to point B. I like when there's multiple ways to do it. That some might be easier than others, and people have different like strategies. But this game, there are times when it's like there's a part where I accidentally fell through a grate, and I was getting stuck before that. And that's if I didn't stumble upon that grate, I wouldn't have known that that was what was meant to happen. Now that's kind of cool. I guess it's kind of a fun little discovery, but still, there were a few parts like that. It felt a bit random rather than like I figured it out. For the most part, though, there were other parts I figured out. I found it hilarious. This girl, this princess that you're trying to save, who works with you, she's so slow climbing ladders. There was one part she was climbing down a ladder, and I was still waiting, and so I just said, "Come on, come on!" And then something happened, and she started going back up. I was like, "No, no, no, no! Stop! Where are you going?" And I tried to call her back. It didn't work. She went all the way back up to the top. And then I called her again, and then she came back down. So I don't know what happened, but I don't know. I had a lot of fun yelling at her to hurry up and like putting my hand out to like jump, and then she nearly falls every time. It's just they act so casual. And it's this weird, it's a bit like with Uncharted 3. You get desensitized when someone's hanging by one hand the first one or two times, like, oh my god, yeah, get up, oh man. And then once you've seen it 10 times, it's like, I get it, I get it. So just putting my hand out, and then she would nearly fall and be like, all right, come on, let's go. um, it was a bit like Uncharted as well. There were a few times I tried to jump and just the angle was off. And he'd just fling himself in the middle of nowhere and just fall. And I felt like there could have been more checkpoints. There were too many times I had to redo parts a couple of times. Too much stuff that was relatively easy but just took time, so that was frustrating. I really liked the shadow monster creatures that you fight. They looked cool, like weird, interesting with these blue eyes, kind of creepy. A bit like, reminded me of Ghostbusters 2. This ghost is probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen. I think the idea of these light up eyes, that's super creepy. Yeah, that part in Ghostbusters 2, and he comes and takes the baby and goes away. That imagery is terrifying to me. But anyway, I really liked the look of the world, the style, and your character. To me, I interpreted it, or I guessed that it was going to be a dream, because it's like a little boy's fantasy that he's a hero, and the adults have captured him and said, you can't wear your thing with horns, you're going to be locked away. But then he escapes, he meets this, nice princess who he then tries to save, and he's fighting this evil, there's an evil witch or queen or whatever. It's just cool. But anyway, the look of it's good. A problem though is with the camera. Okay, this is back when games didn't let you control the camera much. I think you can control it a bit, but it's super awkward. It just moves to the side and then jerks itself back to where it wants. And even though a lot of people said the cinematography is really good, but there were parts that drove me nuts. The camera's like, it's like Final Fantasy X, not as bad as that though. where the camera is like bird's eye view almost, or it's just pointing towards the ground, and I kept trying to shift it to look at this incredible vista or this forest, which there might not be anything there. It's just a background, but it looks cool. There's clouds, there's water, there's stuff, and it's just got a mood, and it's a nice sort of fantasy world. I could imagine going to this place in my dreams, like this big castle, imagining, and it's surrounded by this big forest, and there's these puzzles, and I remember solving that part and that part. And it's really cool how you can look at certain angles and you can see things you did before or parts that'll be coming up, and these big structures, just huge, no explanation of who built it or what it actually is or what this world is. That's why it seems like a dream. But then the camera is pointed at the ground or just close up against a wall, or there's a lot of times where you're walking and the camera is pointing towards you and pulling back, and that means you can't see what's in front of you. So it's so frustrating. It's like I could be about to walk into a monster, I could go off an edge, there could be some new trap that I don't know, like in Prince of Persia 2, just this thing that slices my head off. I like to see where I'm going or to see the environment, so I have to shift the camera and it just slowly pan around. So that was something. Shadow of the Colossus seems a bit better, but still not not perfect. But anyway, an analogy I thought of for this, by the way, is like, imagine you've got, I don't know, any landscape or beautiful scenery, or like a beautiful woman, and you zoom up on her left elbow, right? That's all you can see, right? I don't know why as if you don't know what an elbow is, but why would you do that? You'd be so frustrated. Think, what are you doing? Like, just appreciate what's there. Step back. Let's look at it. Take our time. Instead, we keep having... I did have a lot of fun when there were parts where I had to walk a long way, and then I would turn the camera so I could look while moving. But, like, I don't know. It was a bit clunky to me, and just there were too many times where the camera wanted to move somewhere dodgy. Anyway, it's a relatively minor thing, but quite frustrating. Yeah, I don't know. The game was very fun. Just keep holding this girl's hand. That's kind of significant. I read a review where someone made a big deal about that, how that's just not done in video games much, and it is kind of meaningful and subtle, but a nice message, or just something to experience or relate to. It's something that a lot of people do in their real life. Not me, but but yeah, I did like the idea that it's funny that the boy is smaller than the girl, but the boy can jump higher and do all these things and climb, and she can't do it. She's like, no, I don't know how to do that. But she was able to open doors, so there's like a mutual, they need each other. There was some good climactic moments as well, or where you solve things and you move these big things, and again, it feels a bit like Uncharted. There's a lot of climbing, jumping, and solving weird puzzles that somehow conveniently help you get to where you need to get going. That, what if this old stuff didn't work? You light the fires and it's like, oh, it messed up. Since it's 1,000 years old, or Gary, who worked on this, wasn't very good and he messed it up, and so now it doesn't work. I just think it's hilarious that all of it works perfectly and helps you progress. Anyway, there's one part where you have to blow something up, it falls, and then something just conveniently lands where now you can cross that path. But what if that didn't happen? My whole journey was hinging on this thing randomly falling in the right spot so I could get across. I don't know. It's a game. It's not like you can just end it partway through and say, oh, and then you die or you fail, you're stuck. But still, it just could be a bit more meaningful. Yeah, I liked fighting the witch as well at the end. That was really cool. And the way it's pretty simple, but you do have a stick, and then later you get a sword, and then you get another special powerful sword. And I like a lot of games where you really get this connection with the princess, so when you lose that connection, it's really significant. And I liked the ending. It's very minimalistic, or minimal, which is okay, because I think the visuals and the style and the mood fill it in. And the simple gameplay, which was really fun and exciting. I played it very quickly. I mean, I think it took 6 and something hours, but I only did it in 2 days. So it was really fun. It's an experience I won't forget. I always think fondly. I will think fondly of Ico. So anyway, I highly recommend it. I still think it's a bit like people like, wow, it's so beautiful and amazing. It is nice, but I wouldn't say it's like amazing. But I'd be very keen to play more games like it. So that's why it's exciting to play Shadow of the Colossus, which hopefully will be really good. Anyway, bye for now.